Qatar is a land that is promising and attracting lots of people around the world. Entrepreneurs, leaders, engineers, finance professionals, and educational reformers, and the list will go on. And this country is becoming highly metropolitan, multicultural, and developing at a fastest pace. We are a team of 5 MBA students from the Postgraduate Institute of Management attached to the University of Sri Jayewardenepura, Sri Lanka. We wanted to do a project on leadership as part of our MBA program in Qatar. We will meet a successful leader who has come all the way from South Africa in order to run several projects of a leading company in Qatar. We will spend a quality time with him and bring out his personal thoughts and experience on leadership.
Leadership is a sophisticated game. Only selected people reach the pinnacle of success in that game. Each leader is unique in his approach, skills, and experience. Today in our show, we have with us a unique leader, Mr. Ben Pelser, who is currently the Middle East Projects Director of Qatar Gulf. Good evening, Mr. Pelser.
Good evening.
Welcome to our show.
Thank you very much.
To begin with, you have a long career journey. Could you brief your career journey?
Certainly. I've been in this business since 1972. I started as an apprentice boilermaker. I went to the army in 1972 in June. I came back in 1973 in June. I did a year in time. And then I started full-time on my career as a boilermaker. I qualified in 76. I also did my national technical certification. I got my diploma also in 1976. And then from there on, I moved out from the mines and I joined a company called Babcock International. They are involved in power generation. I became a project engineer with them through the ranks, and from there on I worked with Babcock on power generation, building 2 of the biggest power stations in South Africa, 3,600 megawatts power stations. From there on I went on to join Fluor, and within Fluor I became a project manager. I did my project manager's course in Prince 2, and through that I joined the oil and gas field. That is obviously a passion of mine. you know. And from there on, I joined companies for the likes of Kent's. I joined Foster Wheeler, which is all world leaders in oil and gas. And I worked all over the world. I've worked in Dubai, I worked in the Middle East, I worked up in Africa, Nigeria, Tanzania, Zambia, Botswana, Mozambique. So I've been fairly vast in the world in my field of expertise. Then I joined FATA in 2008, okay, and FATA as a Middle Eastern company, or shall I say Italian company, doing lots of their work in the Middle East, obviously Qatar, Dubai, and Oman, and currently I know that they have got work going in Iran, but which has been placed on ice. However, FATA ventured into the Qatar area, which sort of boosted their vision and also their ability and capabilities, okay, in the Middle East. And yes, I have reached an age of 63 years old, and I'm looking at retiring within this year.
The family is one of the prominent factors to succeed in life. Let us hear a bit about your family.
Look, I've got a great family, and I've got a big and a large family. I've got 5 children, 3 daughters and 2 sons. And obviously my oldest daughter is already 40 years old. I've got 7 grandchildren. All my kids are married, and I enjoy them very much. They all has got, except my youngest daughter, who's got a number of diplomas, and she went to varsity and everything else, but she never wanted to work. She studied, that's it. The rest of them, I've got managers, I've got engineers. My oldest son is a design engineer in oil and gas. My other son is a manager with a very large furniture manufacturer in South Africa. My daughter's a manager with a large cement company. My other daughter's a manager with one of the largest medical funds in South Africa. So they all got very nice careers and big careers. And we like to get together, and when I get home. So family is important, and you have to have the support of the family in anything you do. It doesn't matter what you say, what you do, what your career is, it's immaterial.
How do you balance your family and work life?
It's very difficult to balance your family and your work life in my business when you work away from home, and the durations that you work away from home. Okay, so if you are one of those that don't work in the country or close to home and you have to live away, you obviously need to make sure that the time that you spend with the family is quality time. If you get home, not to have a lot of other activities that will take you again away from home during the time that you are there. If you spend 2 weeks at home because of your holiday rotation, you have to use that time to spend quality time with your family, including my grandchildren. And so take them away a little bit on weekends. And when not, you have family gatherings. And you always share with what their problems are and what your problems are, but don't make your problems the biggest issue of discussion, because that only dampens the spirits. Okay, you have to listen to them. You've got to understand what they want to tell you, and not only for you to tell them of what your experiences are, because that doesn't build a nice relationship. So you've got to have a balance between those two. The support is very important, but also you need to support them, because with you not being there, without a father, it's like a ship without a captain. Okay, and at the end of the day, you have to balance those. That's the only thing you can do. That's all.
Government support is essential to any business. How supportive do you find Qatar government to your business?
I don't really think that we, in that term, is involved in the government support. We obviously got a sponsor that we partner with. The sponsor obviously is supporting FATA in the future for work that we explore to find, and they obviously assist us in that regard. I think on that stage is also the fact that you need to know people from outside, okay, big companies, like in oil and gas type of thing, or in for the likes of the Qatar project that we've done before, is to know companies who's involved in that, okay, and selling yourself. So the government per se is not supporting FATA in that regard. It's FATA's marketing ability that is actually finding and securing projects through that marketing ability. But the government itself is not supporting FATA in that regard, not at all.
Innovation is unavoidable in today's competitive world. How do you relate innovation with FATA SPA?
FATA has got a great engineering company, organization, division within FATA, and they have got a great knowledge about products, also technology, and also process, which makes the heart of any engineering business that you have. So therefore, with the team that we've got, utilizing their skills, their knowledge, and their expertise, that gives us an edge over a number of companies. And we are diverse in that sense that we're not only concentrating on one thing, we are concentrating on a number of things, and therefore we draw on the experience and the knowledge of people that we have currently. And also, they are not sitting back and looking only at what they've done, they're looking at the future to enhance their capabilities, enhance their experience, and also they enhance their knowledge base. So process, products, and also the engineering strength that we have, I think that makes FATA a very strong leader in the business that we are doing. And also bearing in mind that FATA's got FATA Hunter, who's in the rolling mill business. And we have to keep track, because the rolling mill business, especially the aluminium business, is a business that is really competitive. And we always have to keep ahead of all the changes, technology changes and the like. And that's how we build our strength in this industry.
Crisis management is a critical and inevitable part of leadership. How do you manage crisis?
I think crisis, you can define it in various sort of levels. Crisis for me and crisis for you may not be the same thing, okay? And in business, crisis depends on the severity of the crisis, okay? But let's say, for argument's sake, we have got in our field, we've got a product that's been delivered, a piece of equipment that got damaged during the transportation, okay? And we did not know it until the time that we actually installed it. So now we have planned to have it installed, we have planned to have it connected. Now all of a sudden there's damage to it. So now this to us is a crisis, all right? From there on, obviously you've got to weigh up all the options that you may have, okay, so that you can come up with the best option possible. It's either you fly in a new product, which may mean that you have a long delay because there may not be something similar on the market. Secondly is that you have to have it repaired locally, which a lot of times is not possible, because locally you will not get the specialists that can actually do the repairs for you. And thirdly is they have to ship it out of the country, back to the supplier, have it analyzed, repaired, and then shipped back to you in the shortest possible period. So this is a crisis to us. Now you've got to plan around that and then come up with the best possible solution for the problem that you have or the crisis that you have. And from there on, a decision needs to be made of what is the best solution to the project, shortest duration, but still you can maintain progress throughout the process, okay? So that decision will only be made at a time when you have such a crisis. It's not easy to define what type of crisis you may have. Another crisis may be that you have got a leader on the site that leave your employment. and you have to replace the person in the shortest possible period with a similar skill, okay, or even better. And that makes that a crisis. So you have to manage the crisis. What do? Do you go to the market? Do you go to people that know people? Do you headhunt somebody to bring somebody on board in the shortest possible time frame? Because that to you is a crisis on your specific project that you are having. So there's a number of things, something that you have not got the material on site on time, delay delivery, to you becomes a crisis. So you have to adapt or you have to adopt, okay? You adapt by changing your schedule because you can maybe slot it in later, although it will not suit your project 100%, but you have to change the priorities that you have. And by changing the priorities, it means that you will then put something in front which should have come later. So that crisis management, okay, depends on your achievements, depends on what you will achieve if you do change your schedule, okay? And those are the crises that we are dealing with on a regular basis.
Tell us your leadership lessons learned throughout your career.
That is not a short story, it's a long story. Let me just say this, is that in my career I had the privilege of working with a lot of good managers, leaders, and I'm talking about from a site management point of view, engineering point of view, as well as from directorship point of view. And what you always do is that you listen. You have to be a good listener. You have to then, sometimes you steal some of their ideas, you use their ideas, and you apply those ideas to the benefit of not only yourself, but also to the benefit of your company and the projects that you are working on. So by doing that, it means that what the lessons that you have learned will be beneficial to you. But also, along the line, there's pitfalls, okay? Not every lesson that you learn can be applied everywhere. You have to change those lessons learned to be suitable for the actual activity that you are going to do. Because my lessons learned may not be the same as what you would apply in your business. So therefore, it is a question of you take the good, all right? You take people, they are good listeners. You take people that are good communicators. You always need to understand, okay, by communication, the detail of that communication. Lessons learned means that the errors that they have done in the past and the corrective actions that has been taken has been applied and effectively. So therefore, lessons learned is not that simple. Some of the applications later on may not apply to what you want to apply it to. However, the principle is the same, all right? And therefore, you need to take the best out of these and make it your own and apply those so that you can get the benefit out of those lessons learned. Everything is not the same. Blue is not blue and black is not black. It's never like that, okay? But the principles stay the same. So then you have to look at what you want to do with those lessons learned. And there's a lot of these, okay? You can write a thick, very thick book about lessons learned in the world. And I'm talking about world leaders, I'm talking about project managers, I'm talking about CEOs and everybody else. So there's a vast amount of lessons to be learned. But I think making you a person that take this to yourself, you have to be able to listen and always have a notebook that you can jot down the important things, because without a notebook, nobody's got a brain big enough to take all of this in. And you have to always be aware. Have a pen and a piece of paper so you can jot down these things that you can go back later and go over them and review them so that you can say, oh, this is a good point. I will apply this in the future. This is a very good point. I will use that. Some of these are applicable, others are not. Okay, and that's the way that we do business. Lessons learned means also not only the good side, but also the bad side, so that we don't fall into the same trap.
We came to know that Your major sports interests are rugby and cricket. Tell us about that.
You know, we as South Africans do have a saying, we love rugby and cricket. We don't like it, we love it. Rugby obviously we've been born into rugby and we've been born into cricket because that is the two major sports that we have been playing in South Africa for many, many, many years, international as well as locally. And yes, I think rugby is one of our passions, the same as cricket, and we make it our passion. We, as a nation, support rugby, whether it's local and whether it's international. The same with cricket. We obviously have got our internal national teams playing one against the other, and then you go for your own team. Like me, I'm a Blue Bull. And whenever we have our national teams playing, okay, we fight against one another. When we join together to play the world, wherever we go, then we become united and we only go for our own teams. It's the same as the cricket, because the same as what we have got, the different divisions, we join these teams together when we play international. And by playing international, we then unite to support our international team, which when we lose, we feel very bad and sad. And when we win, we feel very happy and glad. So that's the way it is.
How do you connect rugby and cricket with leadership?
I think rugby and cricket, and so to speak of any other sports, the leadership there is based on the management of the team, as well as the coaches of the team and the support coaches. Bearing in mind that you have to have a passion for what you do. You've got to love what you do. If you don't love it, you shouldn't be. And by saying that is that you as a coach or you as a manager should earn the respect of the team players so that they can show their commitment to you. And also discipline. You have to have discipline. Without that, you will not make a success. And I think if you put all of this together, you know, the fact that people learn and practice, and what we always say, practice makes perfect. So if you practice, you've got discipline, you have respect, you then will earn the respect of the team. And being part of the team, I think that is something that molds you together so that you can perform better and come up and achieve the goals that is set by everybody as well, the management, from the management down to the trainers, everybody else. That is what you need, okay? Commitment, setting the goals, and having this bond with your team. That goes from the top to the bottom.
Leadership, in any case, doesn't come easily to a person. What is your leadership philosophy?
Passion for the job that you are doing, the love for what you are doing. If you don't have that, you will not make a success. Otherwise, it will be just like another job or something that you are doing that doesn't carry your enthusiasm. You have to, obviously, as a leader, you have to understand the people that you are dealing with. You have to gather them to make them part of the team. You have to be a person that will bring people into the group so that they can participate. Okay, by doing that, meaning that you have to get the trust of people. You need them to believe in what you say. You have to be the person that you are and not try and be somebody else, because being somebody else is not you. You have to also understand that you're dealing with different cultures, okay, and also with dealing with different cultures, you have to make sure that you have a little bit of background understanding of where they come from and the way they operate and the way they think, because nobody thinks alike. By doing that, you will then bring them into the team and they will feel more comfortable to share what their knowledges are, what their shortfalls are, and also to share with you where they feel that they need something or somebody to support them. Not everybody can do that, unfortunately. You have to be a good communicator. Communication is one of the most important things in our industry. Without communication, you cannot go nowhere. You have to make sure that you bring the team together, and you as a leader they will look up to, and you as a mentor will be a person that will earn their respect. And therefore, being that person, you will make a success. And also, they will enhance by sharing with you and you sharing your experiences with them. And by that, it will be, again, lessons learned.
In 2 lines, what's your leadership mantra?
Passion for the work I'm doing. Always be yourself. Provide quality. Give respect to earn respect. And always have safety for everybody in mind.
What advice do you give to the emerging leaders?
I think apply best practices, number one. And what you have learned, always strive to do the best and better. And what you get from knowledge base and sharing from others, take the best out of that and apply that. But always remember one thing, as a leader, you have to have respect. You have to understand that other people see you differently. You've got to treat them the same as what you expect to be treated, and apply those.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, with that valuable advice, we wind up our interview. Thank you very much, Mr. Pelser, for your precious time. We had fun, knowledge sharing, and great experience with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and it was my pleasure joining you.
Thank you very much for the interview.
My pleasure. Thank you.
so much.
My pleasure. Welcome.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. My pleasure.